Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where a police officer mistakenly shot at a suspect who posed no threat to anybody and already had his hands up in the air with no weapons at all. On April 22, 2023, the Los Angeles Police Department received a 911 call from a female subject who claimed that a man was trying to break into her apartment. She added that the man was her ex-boyfriend, who she had met earlier that night, but at the time of the 911 call, he was banging on her window and trying to force himself inside. In response to this, the LAPD dispatcher promptly noted down the suspect's appearance and then relayed it to all active units over the radio in the form of a burglary suspect there now call, basically implying that all units should respond quickly. Let's first listen to the recorded 911 call before proceeding to the body cam footage that captured the ridiculous events that took place.
Hi, I'm calling because I'm having a disturbance from my ex-boyfriend. He's trying to break into my apartment.
Okay, what's the address?
Beck Avenue.
You said, what was the street?
Beck Avenue. He's trying to break in and if you can hear, he's banging on my window.
Yeah, I can hear him. What's his name?
It's Ricardo Cervantes.
And is he black, white, or Asian?
He's Hispanic. And I'm ready to put a restraining order on him.
Okay, what color shirt and pants is he wearing?
A white shirt and army, like cargo pants, army pants.
And is there a history of domestic violence between you? Physical domestic violence between you?
No, it's not physical, but
is he trying to?
I recently just kicked him out because he's verbally abusive. I have children, and they're not here right now because we all went out to drink. So he's had a few drinks.
And what door is he trying to break? He's trying to break the front.
He's trying to break my window, my living room window, and I am embarrassed right now because I'm sure my neighbors hear it. I'm talking to the cops right now. I'm not getting any water.
So you guys were together before this incident?
Yes, we were together. We tried working these things out 3 weeks ago, but today was my sister's boyfriend's birthday, and his friend too. I invited him to the dinner, so he won't feel disrespected that I went out with all his friends, and that's my sister's boyfriend. My name.
And your callback number? And this is on deck between Sylvan and Irwin?
Yes.
And can you spell his last name for me, please?
Yeah, Cervantes. Cervantes. Dude,
Okay.
You need to stop. Because you want water? I'm not going out.
Oh, okay. We'll send police out.
As we've just heard, the suspect was identified by the female subject as Ricardo Cervantes. The 26-year-old had recently parted ways with the female subject, but was now apparently trying to get into her apartment while asking for water. However, there is a crucial piece of information that the dispatcher completely forgot to take from the female subject: the floor and apartment number. This soon creates trouble for the responding officers, as you will see. But now, let's hear the radio broadcast sent from the dispatcher to the active units out on patrol duty.
North Hollywood units, 459 suspect there now. Beck Avenue. Suspect is male Hispanic, 390, wearing a white shirt, army cargo pants. Suspect attempting to break the living room window, code 3, incident 476 and RD 1526.
At this point, since the broadcast prompted an urgent response, several LAPD officers responded to the apartment complex and immediately began searching for the suspect. It's worth noting that no mentions were made of Mr. Cervantes carrying a weapon or posing a deadly threat to either the female subject or the officers. In fact, the female subject even made it clear that she's never had any physical domestic violence complaints against Mr. Cervantes. These details come into play later, But for now, let's look at the body cam footage from the initial moments when the officers arrived on the scene.
How's he trying to get it through the window?
15827, that gate code is. I think your best call.
What? 27, repeat it.
Then press the call button.
Roger. The whole fucking world here, dude. That code's not working.
Message canceled. Thank you for calling. Goodbye. The suspect possibly is trying to climb through the window, struggle hurt, and line disconnected. Were you able to make entry?
No, we need a better gate code. Also, what apartment number?
As seen in the footage, the officers failed to make entry into the apartment building after trying to enter a code provided by dispatch. From there, the officers attempted to circle the complex and peek into the windows to try and figure out where Mr. Cervantes was.
Verify the second building to the rear of the first building, and if so, what apartment number?
Stand by.
It should be to the rear.
Is that?
Yeah, so, but it's here. It came out as. That's what I was. She might. Does this sound familiar to you? This address?
Yeah, remember I was just here. Oh, I don't know if you responded to my call. I was to the rear. I'm trying to remember what it was. So security was here. There's actually security here. I want to say I took him into custody.
Oh, okay. It sounds familiar. I just can't remember what.
But it was to the rear. That's why I'm asking. So this is something. I know it came out of.
I don't. They haven't fucking said anything.
It was an apartment upstairs.
How the fuck did you get through a window upstairs?
It was this last. I'm trying to remember. Dude. It was last week to the rear, the second floor apartment.
Can you see anything down that way, like the windows or anything?
There was actually the security guard that actually let me in because you need a key fob.
Yeah. We're still up front waiting for further.
27 Roger, stand by. We attempted recall back, no answer.
Roger, from the outside it doesn't appear that a suspect can get it through a window. It's all an apartment complex that we can see down the side. And it doesn't appear that anybody's trying to gain entry to the PR Psalm 390 or 5150.
Okay, 27, the PR did not sound 390, and we could actively hear her engaging with the suspect, and we did hear a struggle.
They don't. Roger, verify that. I tried to call back 3 times, she didn't answer that. Even so, there's no fucking apartment number, so I don't know where, like, it has to be the first floor because it said the window.
She didn't get an apartment?
No. They said they tried to call back 3 times, no answer.
Roger, there was a call in the campaign 3 times.
Roger, we'll try to gain entry and get inside, but we still don't have an apartment number. We don't know what we're looking for.
Here, judging by the officers' attempts of entering the apartment complex, one might wonder whether it's generally legal for law enforcement to try and gain access to residential buildings. This is a valid concern as every individual has a reasonable expectation of privacy in their own home. protected by the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution, which states that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. This becomes even trickier when considering the fact that the officers did not have a search warrant. To clarify this nuance, we can refer to an intradepartmental correspondence document published by the LAPD which specifies a similar scenario. It stated that both the United States Constitution and the California Constitution protects persons and their effects from unreasonable search and seizure by the government. To ensure government actions are reasonable, a neutral magistrate must approve a search warrant prior to a government search. But the document goes deeper into this, adding that there are long-standing, well-established constitutional exceptions to the requirement. Some examples of these exceptions are also mentioned, such as searches incident to arrest, items in plain view, and certain exigent circumstances. Note that a burglary call could be classified as an exigent circumstance that possibly justifies law enforcement's warrantless entry into a residential building. To better understand what this means, it's stated that, in a nutshell, the definition of exigent circumstances is an emergency where someone might be getting harmed, evidence is being destroyed, or police efforts might otherwise be in immediate peril of compromise. Also, California and U.S. Supreme Court rulings allow police officers to enter a person's home without a warrant if they believe they need to respond to such an emergency. Even though the officers were not entering a person's home in specific, it could be said that they were still justified in accessing the apartment complex with the intention of apprehending Mr. Cervantes. Regardless, while keeping this in mind, let's continue with the body cam footage and watch how the events unfolded into a ridiculous mishap.
I'm looking at previous calls at the location. Stand by.
Who's that over there? Hey, can you come over to the gate? That guy acknowledged us, or you just kind of walked away? You good? Alright.
1585.
Somebody opened the front door for us. We're gonna enter the apartment complex and see if we can hear anything.
While some of the responding officers managed to enter from the apartment building's main door, other officers on the scene had made their way through the parking lot entrance. This is when they observed a damaged window screen on the ground, along with the rear window of the apartment unlatched. It was now finally clear that Mr. Cervantes was likely in this specific apartment.
Go ahead.
Oh, shit.
Hey, this is any of you guys on Simplex? Hey, have those units go on Simplex? Go on Simplex. Hey, we have an open window right here in the middle of this apartment complex.
Can you tell like how many windows down?
So where you guys at right now, where Salazar is at, it's about 5 apartments down in the middle.
What's your hats? Walk back here, you in the white shirt.
Hey, he's coming out.
This guy's going out to the front.
Hey, he's going out to the front.
Hey, yo!
Five apartments down.
Yo! Let me see your hands. Walk back here, you in the white shirt. Hey, suspect's going out to the front.
Hey, he's going out to the front.
As seen in the footage, one of the officers positioned outside the apartment complex spotted a man inside who matched the description provided by dispatch. This man was indeed Mr. Cervantes, and he appeared to walk out the front door of the apartment as soon as the officers ordered him to stop moving. On the other side, officers spotted Mr. Cervantes trying to run outside of the building and immediately chased him down. A very brief pursuit took place on foot before Mr. Cervantes ran back inside the female subject's apartment, but promptly raised his hands up in the air, essentially surrendering to the officers. This is when one of the officers, namely Officer Michael Estrada, unholstered his pistol and aimed inside the apartment, but then suddenly shot at Mr. Cervantes without an apparent reason. The footage very clearly shows that Mr. Cervantes had no weapons whatsoever and posed no threat to the officers, which makes one wonder why the firearm was discharged.
Yeah. You know what?
Oh, here. Hey, come here. He's going to the front.
Raise your hands.
He doesn't have a weapon, I promise.
Get out. Get out. Step out. Step out.
As we've just seen, Officer Estrada appeared to have shot at Mr. Cervantes by mistake. This is evident by his fellow officers immediately reacting with shock and confusion after the shot was fired, implying that none of the officers deemed it suitable for shots to be fired in this location. Luckily, we have another angle which proves that Officer Estrada mishandled his pistol and put Mr. Cervantes' life on the line.
I'll be on simple. Oh, here, he's running. Hey, come here. Hey, he's going to the front. I get to the front. No, Hispanic, white t-shirt, blue jeans.
Raise your hands. Get out.
What was that?
Get out. Step out. Step out. Step out.
1383 shots.
Face that way.
Undoubtedly, this mishap clearly shows the serious consequences of mishandling a firearm and also highlights Officer Estrada's grave error. It reminds us of the critical importance of maintaining control over one's weapon and exercising extreme caution, especially in high-pressure situations while enforcing the law. Mishandling a firearm can lead to severe outcomes, but fortunately, in this case, Mr. Cervantes was not injured and managed to escape unharmed. Despite the blatant mistake, Officer Estrada still tried to justify it by claiming that he thought Mr. Cervantes was pointing something at him. This claim is pretty easy to debunk, especially since the body cam footage has already shown that Mr. Cervantes was standing with his hands raised up in the air.
Step out. Face that way.
I thought he was fucking pointing something at me, dude.
No, hell no. I would've
What the fuck are you running for?
You left to a fucking cop because you put I see how you pulled down.
This is an appropriate time to discuss when, in particular, a law enforcement officer is justified in such deadly use of force. First, let's discuss the mere unholstering of a weapon, which is also considered a use of force. According to the LAPD's use of force policy, it stated that unnecessarily or prematurely drawing or exhibiting a firearm limits an officer's alternatives in controlling a situation, creates unnecessary anxiety on the part of the citizens, and may result in an unwarranted or accidental discharge of the firearm. Officers shall not draw or exhibit a firearm unless the circumstances surrounding the incident create a reasonable belief that it may be necessary to use the firearm. When an officer has determined that the use of deadly force is not necessary, the officer shall, as soon as practicable, secure or holster the firearm. Any drawing and exhibiting of a firearm shall conform with this policy on the use of firearms. Moreover, any intentional pointing of a firearm at a person by an officer shall be reported. Secondly, it's made clear that, officers shall use deadly force upon another person only when the officer reasonably believes, based on the totality of circumstances, that such force is necessary for either of the following reasons: to defend against an imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury to the officer or to another person, or to apprehend a fleeing person for any felony that threatened or resulted in death or serious bodily injury, if the officer reasonably believes that the person will cause death or serious bodily injury to another unless immediately apprehended. Judging by these two policies, we can very easily conclude that Officer Estrada had absolutely no reason to even consider discharging his firearm, let alone aiming it at Mr. Cervantes. And by extension, Officer Estrada had used excessive force against Mr. Cervantes, which is also against LAPD policy. Ultimately, Mr. Cervantes was placed under arrest and subsequently charged with domestic violence. 2 days after his arrest, on April 24, 2023, Mr. Cervantes posted bail. Then on April 27, 2023, the LAPD released a press release detailing the officer-involved shooting. The press release highlighted that soon after the incident, LAPD's Specialized Force Investigation Division responded to the scene and interviewed witnesses and supervised the collection of evidence by the Forensic Science Division. It was also mentioned that the complete investigation will be reviewed by the Chief of Police, the Board of Police Commissioners, and the Office of the Inspector General to determine the thoroughness and accuracy of the investigation and whether the use of deadly force complied with the LAPD's policies and procedures. As of the date of this recording, the internal investigation is still active and no further updates have been made. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter.